What's up, you freaking geniuses? So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to determine where a function is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, or in other words, we're trying to figure out where functions are positive or equal to 0. All right, so a couple other ways that we could say that is just figuring out where f of x is greater than or equal to 0, or again, just where is y greater than or equal to 0. All right, so we're going to go over these handful of examples right here, these 6 examples. I'm not going to show you how to graph them just because that's kind of a different topic. Here, I mostly just want to teach you how to write an interval for where they are positive. All right, so let's start with this first example right here. F of x is equal to 4 minus x. All right, so as you can see, we've already graphed it right here. Well, not we, I've graphed it here. And as you can see, it's just a linear equation, so we have just a straight line graphed right here. Okay, so as you can see, the y values for this straight line are positive all the way up here, right? It's still positive, 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 positive. But then here, once it hits the x-axis, it's equal to 0, and then they turn negative, right? All these y values down here are negative, 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 negative. All right, so if you want to write an interval to describe where these y values are positive, well, again, if I keep zooming out more and more and more, right, you can see that we just keep going further to the left, further to the left, further to the left, and these just keep staying positive, right? So I can go all the way to the left, or in other words, towards negative infinity, and they're still going to be positive, right? So we're going to say for our interval, we'll write it over here on this side, we'll say that the y values are positive, or equal to 0, starting at negative infinity, and then where do they stop being positive or equal to 0? Well, that would simply be where we touch the x-axis, right? So if we zoom in, let's zoom in a lot more here, we can see that we touch the x-axis right here at positive 4. Okay, so the y values are positive or equal to 0 from negative infinity all the way to positive 4. And to write your interval, you always put a parenthesis around positive and negative infinities. And then here, we're always going to put a bracket around whatever our number is right here because we're showing that we're including that number. All right, so not too bad, right? Now let's just do a few more examples here. So now let's go to number 2. All right, so now we're going to, first of all, graph this first function right here. F of x is equal to 4x plus 2. And you can see we have it graphed right here. And we're trying to figure out where the y values are positive. Well, you can see that they're always positive up here, right? And then where do we hit the x-axis? Or in other words, where is y equal to 0? Well, you can see we hit it right here at negative 0.5, right? That's where we hit the x-axis, negative 0.5. All right, so let's write that down. So for our interval, we're going to say from negative 0.5. And then from this point to the right, you can see that they're all positive, right? All these y values are going more and more positive the further we move to the right. Or in other words, the further we move towards positive infinity, okay? So then here we would write positive infinity. So our interval for where the y values are greater than or equal to 0 are from negative 0.5, and we'll put a bracket, to positive infinity. All right, there's number 2. Now let's move on to number 3. So number 3 over here. Number 3 is f of x is equal to 9 minus x squared. So you can see this is just an upside down parabola. So again, we just want to figure out where these values are positive, where the y values are positive. So you can see that they're positive, right? Let's zoom out a little bit. You can see here they're negative, right? Negative, 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 negative. Then we hit the x-axis, so that means it's at 0, and then it turns positive, right? Positive, 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 positive. And then we hit the x-axis again, so that's 0, and then it turns negative. So the y values are positive from this point right here, which as you can see, it's at negative 3, right? And then it's positive, 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 up until this point right here, at positive 3, all right? So the y values are positive from negative 3 to positive 3, all right? And then again, we'll put our brackets around those two numbers, all right? So that's number 3. Let's clean that up and move on to number 4. All right, number 4. So here we have f of x is equal to x squared minus 4x. So here we once again have a parabola, And you can see that this portion right here, all the y values are positive, right? Positive, positive. Then we hit the x-axis, so that means the y value is at 0. And then these are negative down here. And then we hit the x-axis again, so y is equal to 0 once again, and then they turn positive, right? So we have positive, all these are negative, and then all this is positive. So how do we describe using an interval this positive section over here and this positive section over here? Well, first of all, you can see that the further we move to the left, right, these are still just going to be positive up here. So we can move all the way to the left, or in other words, from negative infinity, right? And then they're all positive, positive, positive. And then here we hit the x-axis at x is equal to 0. So from negative infinity to 0, that's where this section of the parabola is positive, right? So here we're going to say, let's write that down. So from negative infinity to 0. So we're going to put a parenthesis and a bracket, and then we're going to put a union symbol because we have this gap right here where they're negative. And then where do they start to be positive again? Well, right here at positive 4. So then from positive 4 all the way to the right, you can see that they're all positive again, right? So we're going to say from positive 4 all the way to the right towards positive infinity. All right, so that would be the interval for where this parabola right here is positive. So if you found the video helpful, make sure to leave a thumbs up down below. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments section below.